Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2639 Homecoming 1. A wisp of wind, barely observable, slipped through the gap in the sword's edge and disappeared into the deeper dimensional interlayer. The whole world became chaotic, with light and shadow distorting rapidly, as if the world was about to collapse at any moment. This is a realm created by Adam. However, it is clear that he did not build a complete world state, which is the realm of the gods, so it is easy for it to collapse. Ling looked at the direction the girl was heading and asked Zhang Yi, "Should we pursue her?" "Of course. But we need to reserve some fighting strength. We don't want to die here." "You're not so easy to kill right now." Ling's tone was surprisingly playful, and her human side was becoming more and more apparent. Zhang Yi shrugged. He was indeed not so easy to kill, even against someone like Adam, a queen-level being. After all, possessing both the Time Hand and Formless Realm, two bug-level abilities, his ability to escape is probably unmatched by anyone. Even if he encounters the White Dragon Prince, he can escape by simply focusing his attention and avoiding him 5 seconds in advance. Ling, sword in hand, gave chase. The light and shadow around Zhang Yi and his companions shifted rapidly, like a malfunctioning old television. It was twisting and struggling to maintain itself, but soon it fell into a state of collapse. The ground, formed by black and white blocks, collapsed, revealing a vast, empty world beneath one's feet. Zhang Yi was very familiar with that aura. The foundation of the world was the netherworld, and even the surface universe was built upon the netherworld. Zhang Yi knew this place well. He protected everyone with his Taishu Yukata and waited quietly for Ling to return. At the same time, he focused his attention on sensing the changes in the entire space, trying to find the folds and wrinkles in the spatial layers, that is, the exit from the world of the two polar regions. After a while, Ling returned. "You let him escape?" Zhang Yi asked. "To find him, you have to completely wipe this place clean, and you have to overturn an entire space-time here." Ling sheathed her sword, her eyes calm. "This spatial canvas can't hold up, and neither can the energy within me." Zhang Yi felt a little regretful. In order to help Ling reach the rank of queen, he had given her a fraction of the resources Eve had given him. Such a vast amount of power was only enough to support her in raising her strength to the rank of Empress. Indeed, only the power of ether is the most powerful. She turned to look at him, a familiar, teasing smile playing on her lips. "Besides, didn't you plan to empty this place? If you blow up the whole world, all those resources will be wasted too. It's not worth it." Zhang Yi was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. "What you said makes sense." The two polar regions collapsed, the colors gradually returned, and everyone stood once again on the yellow sand at the outer edge of the Tiantong Tower. Adam's aura had vanished, leaving only the remnants of his domain severed by Rin, which were slowly healing themselves. He ran away? There was no trace of Adam's presence around him anymore, so how could he possibly be a match for Ling? "Boss, let's get out of here. It feels too dangerous here. After all, it's their territory." "I'm so nervous," Fatty Sue said nervously. "Slip?" Zhang Yi chuckled coldly twice, his eyes sharp, and said, "When I tried to sneak away earlier, they wouldn't let me. Now they want me to? Too late." He turned to look at the distant Tiantong Tower. "Let's go back. Let's loot his territory clean. Don't do it once, and don't stop now. Since we've already offended them to death, we might as well go all the way." Next up is Zhang Yi's forte, looting. Uncle Yu and Fatty Sue immediately showed excited expressions. Having followed Zhang Yi for so long, their favorite activity is scavenging resources. Moreover, Eve herself said that most of the valuable resources on Mars were concentrated in Adam's hands. For years he has been conducting experiments to activate mechanical life forms, but the world on Mars is deathly silent, so it's likely that those resources have not been used. This is a priceless treasure. A group of people excitedly rushed into the Tiantong Tower. The upper level of the Tiantong Tower was a series of different spatial worlds, which contained various technological products of the Sand Raider civilization. This is a command center, a research center, and a center for research. This time, Zhang Yi opened the dimensional gate, opening it wide to gather everything he saw. Meanwhile, far away, Eve, battered and bruised by Ling, reappeared, her skin revealing a strange structure beneath. It is neither metal nor flesh and blood cells, but rather strange modules formed by black and white particles. In the Martian world, he should be immortal because he does not have the concept of a spirit body. He is like a master brain formed by the collective thoughts of countless mechanical life forms. But he happened to meet Ling, a swordsman who possessed the power to strike back to the source of power. Adam seemed to sense something, turned his head sharply and looked at the Tower of Heaven in the distance, and an angry voice came from deep in his throat. Earthlings! I will never let you get away with this. With Ling briefly suppressing the domain and Eve granting permission, the last forbidden zones inside the Tower of Heaven were opened one by one, and the deepest database, source database, and component database were all swallowed up by the netherworld. A large number of cases involving stargates, spirit carriers, and incomplete anti-epic technology were casually backed up by Yang Xinxin and Lu Karen, who planned to dismantle them slowly when they got back. Only when the core of the tower was reduced to the bare minimum structure necessary to sustain Eve and the mechanical kingdom did Zhang Yi finally stop, satisfied. All right, let's leave as soon as possible. We can't stay on Mars for long. If that guy recovers and comes looking for trouble, we'll be in big trouble. Although Ling is here to oversee things, Mars is, after all, someone else's territory. He has already gained his just harvest and has no need to take any risks. Everyone returned home laden with their spoils, except for Freeman, who still looked dejected. Zhang Yi had actually seen all of this. So before leaving, he paused in front of a closed theater. That was the place where the dead songstress fell. He raised his hand and grabbed the remains of the mechanical base skeleton left behind from the death ball, pulling it out of the netherworld and repositioning it in the center of the theater. The steel body was plated with a cold, silvery light, and the shattered modules of the band and dance troupe were scattered silently around it. The artificial star, suspended high in the sky, suddenly paused at that moment. A beam of extremely thin white light descended from the sky, shining precisely on the mechanical body of the dead songstress. Within the beam of light, a semi-transparent female figure slowly emerged, with elegant contours and soft features, the very image of the woman whose name Freeman had so longed to mention. Chapter 2640 Homecoming 2. Noschi appeared before everyone. At the entrance to the theater at Freeman Station, the entire screen was filled with static, as if all the cache had been messed up. Noski, his voice was hoarse. The death songstress's mechanical body slowly raised its head, merging with a spirit projection. The cold, hard battle gleam in her eyes gradually faded, replaced by a soft and delightful light. Lucas. She called his name softly. The gap between the two time periods was broken by this shout. I'm sorry, they used me to do a lot of things. Nasai's voice echoed throughout the theater, but I will always remember my promise to you. Freeman walked very slowly, each step as if he were using all his strength. I've found you. He raised his hand, his fingertips trembling. I said I would come. I'm just a little late. Naski looked down at her translucent palm, then at the star-creating body in the sky, a hint of helplessness flashing in her eyes. I am now merely a remnant of my will trapped there. I cannot leave this place. Freeman remained silent for a while, then suddenly laughed. That smile carried the youthful arrogance, as well as the relief that came after more than 20 years of long loneliness in this mechanical life form. Then I won't leave. I'm here, and I can continue to help them clean up the trash, fix things, and keep you company. Let those kids worry about what's going on outside. He glanced at Zhang Yi, and a big smiley face appeared on the screen. Aren't you short of resources? Take your things and don't waste them. I'm not going back. He looked tenderly at his wife. The place where she is my hometown. Noschi reached out and ran his hand through his metal chest, as if stroking, as if confirming. You'll have a tough time. I used to be quite good at working overtime. Freeman shrugged. Now I'm much more resilient. Outside the theater, Eve watched this scene quietly and nodded gently. Zhang Yi didn't say anything to persuade him. He knew that such an agreement was sometimes harder to shake than the laws of the universe. Moreover, the Earth today is completely different from the place Elon Freeman knew. When he went to Mars more than 20 years ago, he had already abandoned everything. Then I wish you two a long and happy life together, even in this godforsaken place. Zhang Yi raised his hand and waved casually at Freeman. Send me some technical data remotely whenever you have time. Get out of here. Don't disturb the second world of the family. Freeman grumbled and cursed, but his voice was full of laughter. Remember to live well, kid. Zhang Yi thought for a moment and then asked Eve, May I entrust them to you? He feared that Adam would retaliate against them upon his return. The best way to protect them is to let them join Eve's mechanical kingdom. As a superintelligent being, Eve's power was no less than Adam's. Otherwise, she would not have been able to obtain a Pure Land in the Tower of Triumph. Eve nodded. Of course. As long as they are loving and devoted, my kingdom welcomes them. Zhang Yi and the others watched the couple reunited after a long separation, which lasted for more than 20 years. For Nasai, it could be 10 million years or even 100 million years. They have now abandoned their physical bodies and exist as mechanical beings. This platonic love affair also makes people sigh. Goodbye, we're leaving. Zhang Yi and the others said goodbye to Freeman. The dimensional gate has opened once again. Zhang Yi stood in front of the gate, glancing back at the dim yellow sky and the flickering star-forming object. The Taishu bathrobe was covered by a thin layer of almost invisible light, and the depths of the netherworld were filled with the legacy of the Martian world. Ling stood quietly behind him. Eve watched from the distant jungle. Freeman and Nashki's figures blended into the theater's light and shadow. It's time to say goodbye to this mysterious place. They stepped out. The portal to the inner world closed behind him. The Martian world returned to silence, with only the whispers of wind and sand over the ruins, and the ancient experiments and unresolved questions still hanging high in the depths of the celestial body, waiting to be questioned again. The moment Zhang Yi left the Martian world, he felt a sense of relief. Whether it's the Kodojian, the Wijiakikyu, or the Death Songstress and Adam, all the obstacles that blocked their way have been overcome one by one. The depths of the netherworld are filled with Martian relics. Ling's interdimensional body returned to the safe haven of the other dimension, and Eve's blessing still echoed in that isolated world of the Tower of Triumph. He thought he could finally catch his breath. But the moment he emerged from the inner world, the communication terminal was completely overwhelmed by a torrent of information. Messages flooded in like crazy, a rapidly scrolling stream of information appearing on one side of his tactical helmet, as if some extremely urgent matter had occurred. What the hell? That wasn't a simple unread text message notification, but a whole area covered in red alert icons, popping up simultaneously from different channels. The Mars exploration team's distress signal, the Earth Star United Council's urgent report, and the Hua-Su military's battle report summary were bombarding Ho-Tu and Zhu-Jingji in turn, with message notifications flashing wildly as if they were about to set the terminal screen on fire. Zhang Yi frowned, a sudden sense of foreboding rising in his heart. The world on Mars is a completely isolated space, so external signals cannot get in. Zhang Yi remembers that he spent about 2 months in the virtual world. It had only been about 3 months since he set off for Mars. Could it be that something happened on Earth in such a short time? Ho-Tu and the others can't be that useless, can't they? They can't live without me, Zhang Yi said somewhat unhappily. If he has to do everything, then what are the officials in the Yodo region doing? He raised his hand and waved it, causing the boundless realm to expand slightly, forcibly organizing and categorizing all communication channels and laying them out according to timeline. The next instant, he saw the cold, impersonal time markers. Since they entered the inner world, 2 years and 37 months have passed in the outside world. Zhang Yi's pupils suddenly contracted. 2 years and 37 years. Is there something wrong with my equipment? He looked at Liu Karen and the others with a surprised expression. Everyone, take a look at your equipment. It seems like there's something wrong with my time. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately checked the timing system on their smart devices. That's not right. My AI system shows that time in our world is 52 kilojoules. Me too, Brother Zhang Yi. What's wrong? Is something wrong? Liu Karen and the others looked at Zhang Yi with confusion. Suddenly, Yang Xinxin's voice rang out. Something's wrong. It seems like we've been caught in a time turbulence. Chapter 2640, 1A Letter from Earth 1. Yang Xinxin showed everyone the message she had received. It turns out that some people couldn't contact Zhang Yi, so they also sent a message to Yang Xinxin. After all, Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin are mainly responsible for Tianhai City's external exchanges. She projected the information onto the screen and showed it to everyone. The time when the information was initiated is clearly recorded on it. Based on the timeline, it is indeed true that we are now in the year 2058 of the Earth calendar. In other words, the short 2 months they spent in the inner world were equivalent to 2 years in the outside world. How is this possible? Uncle Yu murmured. 2 years? Has 2 years already passed in the outside world? This is absolutely unbelievable. 2 years have passed inexplicably, leaving everyone feeling bewildered and tense. They were gone for 2 years, and information from Earth was completely unable to reach the other world. People on Earth probably thought they were dead. I wonder what Earth will become. Zhang Yi lowered his eyes, but he understood why all of this was happening. Time is formed by the movement of the third dimension, that is, the three-dimensional world. Therefore, the flow of time may be different in different spaces. Like my alternate dimension. That's not surprising. They experienced only 2 months within the Heavenly Tower and the inner world, but 2 years passed in the outside world. The time difference caused the misalignment to hit Zhang Yi like a blunt object on the back of his head. He remained silent for 2 seconds before his expression suddenly turned cold. If those ancient, enlightened beings discovered that we were gone, they would surely assume that we perished in the universe. What they would do is simply unthinkable. Brother Zhang Yi. Yang Xinxin's voice was somewhat cold, clearly indicating that this matter had also had some impact on her. We were inside the Tiantong Tower just now. The spatial barrier blocked out external interference, and all communications were suspended. If we hadn't taken a quick step out of there, it probably would have taken even longer. Liu Karen quickly brought up the Earth star calendar, his finger swiping across the void to calculate the specific proportion of the time difference, and his expression changed accordingly. The flow of time in the inner world is less than 1/10 of that in the outside world. She gritted her teeth. I should have come out for a walk every now and then. It's a pity that I kept pushing forward back then and couldn't stop. It's pointless to talk about these things now. We've gained enough from this trip, so there's nothing to regret. However, I'm a little worried about the situation in Huashu Kingdom on Earth. Zhang Yi raised his head and said, let's see what kind of intelligence they've sent over. He opened the battle report channel with the highest priority. Hota's image leaped out from the terminal and was projected in front of everyone. The woman, who was always calm to the point of being harsh, now had bloodshot eyes. Her hair was tied up tightly, and she looked as if she had been working continuously for countless days and nights. She spoke concisely, quickly condensing the events of the past 2 years into a summary of just a few minutes. In the first year after Zhang Yi and his group left Earth, the Huashu Kingdom maintained a precarious balance, with its border defenses sometimes tight and sometimes loose. They heeded Zhang Yi's instructions, remained hidden, and held their own defensive line, resolutely refusing to advance an inch and avoiding any conflict with the ancient Manhwa. However, as time went by, the ancient Ming people who had been lying dormant in the Huashu kingdom finally couldn't hold back and began a probing offensive. First came a small-scale, regular troop advance, followed by repeated decapitation strikes that carried the aftermath of the rule. The missing team was an elite squad sent by the government to investigate anomalies in the border region of Huashu Kingdom. The towns that were attacked were originally intended to serve as forward observation posts. When Huda spoke of the common people's injuries, her voice was extremely low, but she couldn't suppress the chilling, killing intent between the lines. They didn't dare to press forward all at once. Huda coldly stated in the battle report, "Even this slight probing has already caused our borders to shrink, forcing us to voluntarily abandon several resource zones. Now, everyone is asking, where has chaos gone? Chaos, what happened to you? When will you be able to return? The Huashu Kingdom needs your strength now. Please reply to my message as soon as possible. Zhang Yi." The military has also issued a transfer order. Zhu Zheng's image then popped up. He had lost a lot of weight, and behind him was a densely packed list of casualties. If you receive this message, please be sure to return to Earth immediately and organize a new front. Zhang Yi only saw 2 video messages, but his email inbox already had 999 plus messages. It's not just people in China, but also some acquaintances abroad. It seems the news of their disappearance is spread all over the world. After watching the video messages from Ho Tu and Zhu Zheng, Zhang Yi paused in midair for a moment. 2 months was just the time it took him to travel through the inner world and loot the Tiantong Pagoda again. However, 2 years is enough time for the entire planet Earth and for the Huashu Kingdom to change too many things. The boundless realm automatically contracted, and the end demon god armor quietly adhered to his body. The void bath robe suppressed his deepest emotions. He rarely showed this expression. His eyes no longer held the ferocity or calmness of the battlefield, but rather a composure suppressed to the extreme. The Mars exploration team signal is also flashing. Yang Xinxin looked up, and her gaze swept towards another row of red markers. The location is near the Mars near-Earth orbit projection base. Everyone. They fell into an extremely awkward silence. When they arrived, they brought with them a large number of professionals, including geologists, mining experts, cosmologists, and so on. These people were all left outside, even though the Martian base built for them was enough for their survival. However, living in the universe for 2 years must have been very difficult. "Let's get the people here under control first," Zhang Yi said calmly. "The outside world is already in such a mess. We can't let them waste their time on Mars." With a single thought, Zhang Yi tore open a rift in the netherworld rift in near space, and the elegantly streamlined hull quietly slid out, like a silver whale returning to reality. The dreamer appeared before everyone. The bridge lights lit up one by one, and the intelligent mainframe awoke from its slumber, actively connecting with Zhang Yi's mental imprint. Target coordinates locked. A voice announced in everyone's ears. Temporary planetary base for the Mars exploration team. The dreamer swayed gently, its warp drive charging, and vanished from its spot in the next instant. When it reappeared, it was hovering steadily above a red wasteland near the Martian equator. Chapter 2642 Letter from Earth 2. What was once just a desolate expanse of gray-orange rock has now been transformed into a massive structure spanning several kilometers in circumference. That was the temporary planetary base that Zhang Yi planned, and that everyone built together. From a distance, the base looks like a steel flower fallen on a wasteland, with petals that are stacked metal chambers and energy towers. In the center is a vertical deep well mining platform, like a giant needle inserted into the shell of the planet. The surrounding area is a neat and uniform mining area. But at this moment, the color of the steel flower has dimmed considerably. The walls were mottled by wind and sand, and some of the makeshift structures were even covered with rust and dust. The energy shield was still there, but the thickness of the light curtain was clearly reduced to the minimum, obviously to save that pitiful amount of backup energy. When the shadow of the dreamer loomed over, the entire base visibly trembled. The next second, the the main gate of the base burst open, and a group of researchers and engineers wearing compression spacesuits swarmed out. Many of them had unshaven beards, dark circles under their eyes, sallow complexions, and had visibly lost weight over the past 2 years. Some of the researchers who were quite young back then now have graying temples. Clearly, during the 2 years that Zhang Yi and his team were missing, these professionals were extremely anxious. Because the base has limited energy and food, if anything happens to Zhang Yi, they can only wait to die. They were stunned for a moment when they saw Zhang Yi walking out of the cabin. Then it was as if some psychological defense had been suddenly breached. Your Excellency, Team Leader Zhang. Zhang Yi, you are my god. A group of experts and scholars who were originally as rigorous as textbooks instantly turned into refugees who rushed towards them crying. Some were sniffling as they ran, while others tripped and fell flat on their faces, only to get up and continue rushing towards them. There was also someone muttering curses under their breath, but what they were really saying was, "You little brat, you actually know how to come back, and I thought you died on planet Bo." Zhang Yi awkwardly touched his nose, too embarrassed to refute their crying and cursing. After all, he was right about this, even if it was his subjective decision. However, leaving a group of Gong stranded in the desolate planet for 2 years would likely drive them to the brink of collapse. You bunch of idiots. Surrounded by them, Zhang Yi could only smile wryly and stretch out his arms, letting the group of scientists frantically pat his armor. I've only been gone for 2 months. Why are you all acting like it's New Year's? 2 months? What 2 months? We've lived in fear and trembling for 2 years. One of them burst into tears. Do you know what it's like to eat nutritional paste on Planet Lu for 2 years? Every time I close my eyes, I can't stop smelling that stuff. Don't mention it, don't mention it. Another nutrition expert looked ashen-faced. Now, whenever I smell a fragrance, I instinctively think it's a hallucination. The high-protein nutritional paste is made from the finest cockroaches, of course. In order to survive in space for a long time, the food Zhang Yi left for them was all compressed. He knew nutrition capsules. A few capsules per meal were enough to fill them up. However, taking capsules and nutritional pastes all the time can really make you vomit. Refer to Jiao and Juan, who ate fish for 7 years. Lu Karen was trying so hard not to laugh that her shoulders were shaking, while Yang Xinxin secretly glanced at the base structure behind them, her attention already focused on the newly built facilities. Looks like, she said in a low voice, you guys haven't been idle either. Idle? One of the research team leaders stared wide-eyed. If we're bored, we might as well just lie in the nutrient tank and wait to die. He took a deep breath, regaining some of his professional composure, and pointed to the gleaming metallic structure in the distance. According to the mining plan you left behind, we first opened up 100 main ore veins. Originally, we only planned to do basic exploration, but when we dug down, we found that the metal content below was much higher than expected. In the first year after you left, with the help of the mechanical life form engineering team, we expanded all the mining areas to cover the entire mining belt. Another team leader in charge of the project construction chimed in. In the second year, the exploration team was almost going crazy because they couldn't find anything to do, so they simply went straight to the metallurgical process. Zhang Yi looked in the direction they were pointing. On the barren wasteland of the planetary base, the once monotonous rock layers had been carved out with rings of huge pits. Each pit's edge is secured by a reinforced metal ring, while the interior is a hollowed-out mine tunnel with a stable structure. At the edge of those mine pits, there were piles of, or like mountains, the originally gray rocks gleaming with a strange metallic luster under the light. Further on, there is a metallurgical industrial zone built with the assistance of mechanical life forms. It was a simplified version of an industrial city. The robust furnace towers resemble upright metal tree trunks, their bodies covered with temperature control nodes and energy pipelines. The deep vibrations inside indicate that they have never completely shut down, even in situations of energy shortage. On the aerial transport tracks, transport vehicles driven by mechanical life forms are moving slowly, carrying preliminarily purified metal ingots from the furnace opening to the storage area. The mechanical life forms of the Zhongyuan clan, especially the engineered machines, have reached a fairly advanced level in this field. They source materials from the local area and built modern industrial chains from there in just 2 years. It was far too easy for them. In the storage area, large and regularly shaped metal ingots are neatly stacked. It is made of high-purity steel with a silvery white color throughout, and its surface texture is delicate. The hardness and toughness of the material meet the top military standards of the planet, as shown in the scanning data. It is a special copper alloy with a faint golden red hue, doped with a small amount of rare metal elements. Its electrical conductivity and corrosion resistance far exceed those of ordinary copper, making it an essential core material for manufacturing high-precision instruments for Starship energy loops. There were also golden cubes radiating a soft glow, each more than half a meter tall and incredibly heavy, with the starbase number and refining date engraved on their surfaces. Silver, on the other hand, resembled small metal walls cast into a frame, with the purity of each silver ingot precisely marked to 4 decimal places. Even more outrageous is that special metal area in the corner. There were piles of rare element crystals from deep mineral veins, with regular shapes and strange colors. Some emit a pale blue fluorescence, while others exhibit a multi-layered refractive structure under light. According to the scan report, the interior contains only platinum group metals, which are extremely rare on planet, as well as several new types of alloy mother minerals that have never been discovered on planet. Their structure is highly similar to the materials used by the Sand Raider civilization. Did you dig all of these up over the past 2 years? Even someone as worldly wise as Zhang Yi couldn't help but gasp for breath at the sight. The efficiency of the metallurgical chain is simply outrageous. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises.